Flat out. We are the better black men. We are. That's just point blank. We're the ones who didn't sit by and say, you know what? I'm not going to let my situation dictate where I'm going. I'm not going to use the race card in going and get a good education and going and seeking out that job or going to the local bank to apply for that business loan. No, you clowns would rather go out and live the fast life and try to come up through the dope game and get pinched and get that felony, and you get that big fat F next to your name, and then when you want to go down and try to get you a job, and then all those job people, all those in future or potential employers pull your name up, and they see that big fat F next to your name because you didn't want to establish a trap house because you've been watching too much Scarface, you've been watching too much Sugar Hill, or you've been watching too much gangster movies, and now you got that F. And now when you don't get that job, you want to say, oh, it's because I'm black. Oh, they're racist. And I've said before, in my experiences, especially when I got out the service, most of the jobs that were given to me, or were not given, but were I interviewed and earned, they were in front of white guys. And they're the ones who hired me. They're the ones who hired me. It's because I went, I presented myself, I spoke like I had some sense. I didn't speak like a damn slave who just got off the plantation. I wore a suit and tie to an interview. I had a well-presented resume that detailed all my skills and qualifications, along with my degrees. I had my military service with an honorable discharge. That's why. That's why.
Next thing I know, Officer Bronto took me with his gun, you know, talking about blowing my head off. Then he grabbed me out the car, you know, and started beating on me. You know, I just couldn't believe it.
Police say they first saw Dent's car through binoculars. They were watching an area known for drug dealing.
Don't you know a nigga can murder 4 people, or in this case, sell dope, my cousin sell dope, make illegitimate children, not pay for him, have his mama pay his child support for him. That nigga can spout Bible verses and get accepted more than me, who never been to jail, has a speeding ticket, never sold dope, went and got my bachelor's degree, master's degree, own his home, cars paid for, what makes a pretty good salary.
Dent was not armed and no gun was found in his car. After the arrest, police discovered Dent was driving on a suspended license. They also say they found a baggie of crack cocaine under the passenger seat.
They planned that stuff in my car, believe me.
Dent has been working for Ford Motor Company for 37 years and has no criminal record. He had his blood tested at the hospital and had no drugs in his system. Officer Melendez, the one seen throwing the punches, is the same officer who, when working as a Detroit police officer in 2003, was charged by the U.S. Attorney's Office with planting evidence and falsifying reports. A jury found Officer Melendez not guilty.
I worked for mine. You know, I've been in my job 37 years. You know, so, you know, I don't have to sell drugs.
Floyd Dent could not even respond to the video. He was too upset by it. He told me last week police humiliated him at the station.
These cops should be locked up for what they did. I mean, I feel they should be too. All of them. All of them was behind it. Okay? Man, you don't know.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, the look they gave me when I was in that jail cell, like, you know, I was just dirt to them.
You sort of had your own moment of truth over recent days, so I'd like to start with that. We know that you were on a lengthy trip to China and you were returning home. What exactly happened?
Well, I was filming my new documentary series for PBS. It's called Faces of America. It's about immigration. And we were filming Yo-Yo Ma's ancestral cemetery for a week in China. It was fantastic. And my daughter and I took my daughter along, and we had just flown back from China. I came from New York to Boston, and my driver picked me up. We got to my house in Harvard Square, and the door was jammed. The door wouldn't open. And to make a long story short, I asked my driver just sort of to push the door through. I gave him his tip. He left. I called Harvard Real Estate, which does the maintenance on my house because they own the house. And while I was on the phone, a Cambridge policeman showed up on my porch. I walked with the phone still active to my porch, and he demanded that I step out of my house onto the porch. That's all he said. He said, "I would like you to step outside." I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Why are you here?" He said, "I'm investing a breaking and entering charge." I said, "This is my house. I'm a Harvard professor. I live here." He said, "Can you prove it?" I said, "Just a minute." I turned my back. I walked into the kitchen to get my Harvard ID and my Massachusetts driver's license. He followed me without my permission. I gave him the two IDs, and I demanded to know his name and his badge number.
And when you demanded that, what did he say?
He wouldn't say anything. He was just very upset. He was trying to figure out who I was. He was looking at the ID. He didn't say anything. And I said, "Why are you not responding to me? Are you not responding to me because you're a white police officer and I'm a black man?" He turned, walked out, turned his back on me, walked out. I followed him onto my porch. It looked like a police convention. There were so many policemen outside. I stepped out on my porch and said, "I want to know your colleague's name and his badge number." And this officer said, "Thank you for accommodating my earlier request. You are under arrest." And he slapped handcuffs on me, and they took me to jail.
Originally, they put the handcuffs behind your back.
They put the handcuffs behind my back, and I told them that I was handicapped. I used a cane. They had a debate. There was a black officer there who was very sensitive. He persuaded them to move the handcuffs from around the back to the front. They took me to the Cambridge police station and booked me. Fingerprints, mugshot, which has now been all over the universe.
Seen it a lot. I got to tell you, to see, I mean, Professor Gay, I had him in college, and you know, to have that shot, your mug shot, is quite a shock to see. What was that moment like for you?
It was terrifying, and I realized.
Were you afraid?
I knew that I was in danger, but I knew too that as soon as my friends could get to jail, starting with Professor Charles Ogletree, who was my friend and lawyer, that eventually I would be okay. But what it made me realize was how vulnerable all black men are. How vulnerable all people of color are, and all poor people, to capricious forces like a rogue policeman. And this man clearly was a rogue policeman.
The police report said he described you as behaving in a tumultuous manner.
Yeah, look how tumultuous I am. I'm 5'7", I weigh 150 pounds, and my tumultuous, outrageous action, Tom, was to demand that he give me his name and his badge number. Soledad, why? Because if I had stepped out on the porch, and it's important for all people to know this about the police, if I had stepped outside of my house, he couldn't come in my house legally without a warrant. He couldn't arrest me without a warrant. Had I stepped outside, he would have slapped handcuffs on me for being under suspicion of breaking and entering, because he was responding to a profile. Two black men with backpacks were breaking and entering into my home, and when he saw me, he just presumed that one of them was me.
A neighbor called 911. I mean, it was a neighbor of yours who said that description, two black men breaking into your house.
Yeah.
Are you angry with your neighbor?
No. In fact, I hope right now that if someone's breaking my house, this nice lady is calling the police. I have a lot of valuable art and books in that house. And in fact, I think I'm going to send this person flowers. I hope she's watching. I know that she must be intimidated, and she must think that I'm very angry. It wasn't her fault. It was the fault of a policeman who couldn't stand a black man standing up for his rights right in his face. And that's what I did. And I would do the same thing exactly again.